Adelaide boy, at 18, Steve McCann was a bookies clerk with a head for numbers. Became a lawyer with Freehill, specialising in mergers and acquisitions, moved on to investment banking with Ord Minnett and ABN AMRO before moving to Lendlease in 2005 as Head of Property Investment. Would you please give a very warm welcome to Steve McCann.
I've often said to people within Lendlease that I was always attracted to this organisation by the quality of the people I met. That culture has always been powerful, and unlocking that culture to drive business outcomes is the essence of my role. I was appointed, as Kerry said, Group CEO in December 2008 and joined the board as Managing Director in March 2009. In February of that year, the Lendlease share price was disturbingly low at $4.85. We needed to reassess our business from top to bottom. As part of this, we shifted our focus towards building a pipeline of large integrated projects, such as Barangaroo. And when I reflected this morning on what my own leadership journey had been, it can purely and simply be characterised by continuous learning. This week I had a call with one of my mentees, Claire Johnson. She asked me what characteristics or traits I look for in future leaders. We talked about learning agility and trust. Open-mindedness and authentic listening are critical ingredients. And the speed with which a person can analyse the information gathered and then adapt their way of doing things to drive the best results sets potential leaders apart. Trust generally is harder to earn or demonstrate, but in my view, a person who has strong values and demonstrates an inbuilt quality control mechanism where he or she will never be satisfied with less than their best is someone that you know over time you can trust to deliver. Safety remains Lendlease's number one priority. Our goal will always be to maintain zero fatalities and eliminate critical incidents. I mentioned our global minimum requirements framework. This is something we continue to tighten up to focus on key risks in the cities in which we operate. However, over the last 6 years, our notion of caring for people has evolved and extended beyond pure safety to include their health and well-being. Sadly, we know that construction workers are more than twice as likely to suicide as other Australians. And construction workers are 6 times more likely to die by suicide than through a workplace accident. We are currently rolling out some fantastic programs to raise awareness, to educate, support and better understand mental health. We operate in a rapidly changing world, facing a series of complex and interconnected macro trends. For Lendlease, our ability to respond to and to address these changes will distinguish us from the crowd, both in Queensland and across the world. So thank you for listening, and thank you for many of you for your ongoing partnership and support.
How would you describe the background that you came from and the influence that that has had on your life?
There was a very strong set of values in my family. And I think that, I learned the importance of honesty and integrity, way back then. I also think there was a real sense of fairness that we had with 7 children around the table.
Certainly, to my memory, you are the first corporate leader on this platform to identify mental health as a strong aspect of your health and safety.
I don't create the focus. I'm simply the person who's got to stand up in front and help drive the outcome. So I've had some great people who have sat down with me and said, hey, Steve, we need to really do this. We need to start pointing the ship in a different direction.
You've promised true pay parity between men and women over a 2-year period. How tough will that be to achieve? And you've also promised to maintain it. How does that happen?
Last year, we went back to all of our managers in all of our businesses and said, tell us where you think the gaps are and how you are going to address them. And what do you need? The answer was they needed several $1 million over and above their pool. So we just said yes. So they took that several million and they allocated it to try and address what they perceived to be the gap. But it's a lot more complicated than just looking at the headline numbers. You've got to do a kind of a job framework analysis to make sure it is really like-for-like roles. It's because the bias, the unconscious bias that exists in the manager making the decision is influenced by the history of that person and the gender. And our aim now is this year we'll go to 0 in terms of gap, and then next year we'll do we'll basically reset our benchmarking and get independent sign-off that there is a clear appropriate measure of roles in the organisation so that there's no hidden gap.
And that's where we'll leave it for today. But Steve, thank you very much for giving us what seemed to me to be a very meaty array of headings.
Thanks, Ken.
And some insights to inspired leadership. So thanks very much.
Thank you.